Frankie, what a win last night for the under-21s. You loving it?
I'm loving it. Other than the absolutely awful Sky Sports stream, the boy had training, literally finished at 7:30, got straight in the car. We got the mount on the dashboard, put the phone on there, kicked back. I thought, oh, what a journey home. It's a long drive that we have to get to his football training.
Frankie doesn't drive. I just want to stress, Frankie's not driving and watching football.
No. So I went kicking back. I was ready for it. We all had like little encouraging good food after football. So we had a nice prepped meal in the little thing that keeps the food hot. I thought, kick back, hours drive, West Ham on the thing, lovely. And how much of a pain that stream was. I can't believe how bad Sky got it last night, but there you go.
Yeah, I missed half the second half as well, thanks to Sky Sports. And when they whinge, people are getting a legal fire stick. This is why. It's not just the cost, it's you. Unreliable. Us lot, mugs, paying full whack. Can't even get the service that you've promised us. But I've had to go watch the highlights today because I understood last night I'd missed a couple of top saves from Herrick. And I thought he had a really good game anyway. But then I've gone and watched the highlights and he's had an even better game than I anticipated. But I will say this now. I said it yesterday. Hopefully those in the watch along can back me up. I said it before he made any saves. I get a little bit hesitant to say when I think a player is going to make it under 21s because there's way too many obstacles in that player's way, right? There's a lot of players I've seen under 21s, under 18s. I think, yeah, this guy's talented. And he goes on and he might play in League Two or something, which is still a wonderful career. They still made it as a footballer, but I thought they might have made it at West Ham. So I get a little bit hesitant because I just think when you bring in a first-team player, they're going to get first-team opportunities. So the fate's in their hands a lot. Also the manager as well. But under 21s level, under 18s, there's so many different factors that you've got to consider whether they're going to make it or not. But last night I decided to announce, if you like. I think I've said in one video previously, sneaked it in. I think Herrick is the first time I've ever thought a goalkeeper at West Ham might make it at West Ham. I've always thought Trott and Nan, good goalkeepers. Heggie, really good goalkeeper. Just not sure he'll make it at West Ham. I think they'll go on and have good careers, whether it's Championship, League One, they go abroad and play in the top division somewhere. But Herrick's the first time I've seen a keeper and thought he's just got a little bit of that. For those that watch Dragon's Den and Deborah Mead, when she does that, they've got a little bit of that. But last night, I thought he was fantastic, Frankie. But that save at the end, not the penalty, because I think it's quite a poor pen. I think he just goes the right way. But it's a save after it with his leg. He just sees what's coming and just sticks his leg out. That's all he does. But how often in the, Premier League level, do you see the keeper just not do that? They just don't. How often do you see a keeper just stick his leg out and say, it's not very, brilliant save. But I thought he had a tremendous game. And his claims at high crosses as well when we're under pressure. Fantastic performance from him last night.
Yeah, especially when I think it's even more impressive when, it's like before the game, you're looking at it and you're trying to sort of think, right, how, because it's a massive achievement that they're the only under 21 side left in. They're playing very big. We know what those leagues are like. They're big, they're physical. The teams set up purposefully to have massive midfields, big, strong target men. Like this is what teams do in that league. And I was looking at it last night, and I said to the boy as we were watching it that the biggest threat to us is going to be corners, set pieces, because we're all young lads. They've got big, towering, tall midfielders, defenders piling into the box from corners and stuff like that. So for him to deal with everything that he dealt with against a side like that, and all the sides that they've had all the way through, to be honest, just shows you how impressive he is. I'm with you. And I think in what you just said, it's very difficult to tip goalkeepers to make it at the club because, there's so many years still probably that he's got to go through before he would break. And that's just how it is nowadays. It's goalkeepers tend to be a bit older before they make it into the Premier League first team squads.
It's the hardest position, isn't it? Because I think it's difficult to put a young player in any position in the first team. There's a bit of a gamble, but chucking in a keeper, wow, that's like serious gamble. And one mistake and you can ruin his career probably. As a midfielder, if he makes an error, Declan Rice did it many times when he first come into the team. I'll still always go back to that game against Arsenal where he ducked the cross coming in, he ducked and it went in. And I think it was Joe Hart was like, what are you doing? Why are you ducking? But in training, you get your arm around him and just say to him next time, just don't duck, right? Just get rid of it. I think it's easier to rebuild confidence when you're in a different part of the pitch as well. You can take him out the team, like when Liverpool away, Newcastle away, he got hooked at half time in both games, but you can put him in for the next one, or you keep him on the bench and give him 10 minutes, 20 minutes, build him back up. But as a goalkeeper, you can't do that, right? If the confidence is shattered, that's it. They're out the team and they ain't getting back on kind of thing. So there's going to be a lot of loan moves required for him. He's obviously had half a loan move this season at Bournemouth before being recalled. So he's going to have to go out on loan and really build up his career. And I think whilst I think he might make it at West Ham, I'm talking 5, 6 years, 7 years time kind of thing, when he's in his mid-20s at the earliest, before you even see him get a sniff of first-team football. I think you need to do, I guess, what Aaron Ramsdale done, what James Beadle's doing currently at Brighton. He's at Sheffield Wednesday at the moment, although I don't think he's having a great season. But that's what you do. You want to get he's in the England squad, punching above his weight a little bit in terms of he's in a higher age bracket too. So highly regarded as Herrick and the hero last night, but not the only one. I thought it was a very impressive display from the under-21s. Like you said, what an achievement, because last night was the last 32. We were the only under-21s team in the last 32, and we've made it to the last 16. And it's only the second time we've done that ourselves. So it is a very difficult thing to do. But I thought it was a really good team performance as well. I thought Earthy was the best player in the first half, but I think Herrick was the best player over 90 minutes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Annoyed me a little bit last night, Geo. Commentator. Colchester are more than holding their own. Hang on, mate. We're the only under-21s team left in this. We're the ones who are supposed to hold our own. We're the ones who... He got it totally the wrong way round.
What does he mean, hold it? We outplayed them in the first half. We passed them off the park. What was it? 66% possession. We had 9 shots or something. We absolutely battered them in the first half. They couldn't get a sniff. Our midfield were we weren't creating loads, but the midfield and defence were pinging it around between them. First touch football, bam, 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 little triangles. We were in complete control. I think the second half, we tired and they upped their game a little bit. And I think the subs they made a difference. They were a bit more direct and had a little bit of pace about them. But that's when you would say what you've just said, which is we held our own. But in the first half, I don't think Colchester held their own at all. I thought we completely outplayed them.
Yeah, and it was those little triangles at the back. There's always... I love the off-the-ball play that they have. They're always working for each other. They're always working hard. Never find them standing watching. No. Which I love that. They're always moving. No matter what, they're always thinking, how can we help the next phase of play out? How can I make sure I'm available? And they all want the ball, and they don't care, even if they're in a real sort of what would normally be a nervous position. They still receive the ball. I love teams who want the ball and give it to me. I don't care if I'm in a tight space. I don't care if I'm in a little bit of an awkward position. I know. And do you know why they want the ball and why they're so comfortable? One, it is their confidence. But two, they know if they receive that ball on the edge of their own box, they know that someone on the left and someone on the right is going to be working hard to get there for them to be able to play the ball again. Yeah. It's all confidence in each other, and it's a beautiful thing to see. I really enjoyed watching that first half because I thought the football was fantastic.
Yeah, very, very refreshing. There's something I want to talk about in regards to the 21s and the under-18s. It sort of feeds into what you were just talking about there. Before we do that, I just want to point in the direction of this video's sponsor, which is very topical given what we're discussing. Do you have the next generation of the West Ham Academy players at home right now? Do you have a youngster into football under the age of 16? It doesn't matter what age they are, just as long as they're below the age of 16, because we are working in collaboration with FPro, which is a game. It's an app that's been designed as a game. It's got gamification in it, so it feels like a game for the kids, but actually it's teaching them, it's enhancing their footballing skills. And it comes with a football mat as well. So when they're younger, it's teaching them about balance, about moving the ball. As they get a little bit older, they start to increase the technique, increase the speed, increase the skill set, all the way up until the age of 16. Plus, we've got an offer for you as well. If you go to fpro.com/Hammers Chat, you will save up to 40% on your plan. Frankie already had this before we started working with FPro. Frankie had it for his little boy as well. And if you check out the episode we did a couple of weeks ago, there's footage of Albie scoring using one of the techniques coach in the app. But all the training drills you get in the app has been designed by UEFA certified coaches. This isn't something me and Frankie have put together. Although I think we do a good job of it, to be honest with you, Frankie. I think we'd have a little bit of fun. But UEFA coaches have designed the drills and the skill sets within this app. You can do it in the living room, in the bedroom. It takes just 20 minutes as well. Plus, also, you can have up to 3 player profiles on the app. One account, you get 3 player profiles. So even if you've got 1 or 2 kids, 3 kids, all of them can have their own individual profile within the app. You only pay once. Frankie, you recommend it, don't you?
I certainly do.
Yes.
Very, very good. And what better Christmas Day when they start getting bored, tired of opening presents, all of those things where you need to get the dinner on and you've got to go and stick them in front of that screen with that mat, and they're going to be entertained for until I think you probably have to drag them off it, Geo, to be honest.
There you go. The essential plan after your discount with Hammers Chat is less than €6 per month. So go give it a look, even if you're not sure. Just have a little look at the website. There's a lot of different things on there to tell you what they do and stuff like that. But you've got someone at home, a kid at home that's into football. It comes highly recommended by Frankie, a dad of a kid who's really into football. fpro.com/Hammers Chat. The link is in the description below and the pinned comments. Frankie, one thing I want to discuss in regards to under 21s, and it kind of feeds into what you were just discussing there. You were talking about the trust and how they just trust their teammates and how they read each other's game. And I think the other thing I like about it is it's never perfect. A lot of the play they do, a lot of the passes they do, quite often they'll get caught out. All it takes is one pass to be under hit or slightly off and bang, you can nick it. And I think Colchester did that a couple of times. But the reaction from everyone, there's one in my mind. Kanté gave it to Fearon and the pass wasn't quite right. And Fearon wasn't quite where he should have been or needed to be. And he had to stretch Fearon. He ended up putting out a play for throwing deep in our half, and he gave Colchester an attacking throw-in. But not one player moaned. Not one player went, oh, everyone went, oh, unlucky. Like, we strung 8 passes together there. And had that pass worked, we'd have broke the Colchester press in the away. And I think one thing that's very, very impressive for me, and it has been for a number of years now, is the team spirit within the groups. The under 18s, under 21s, because you have a high turnover. You often have a high turnover in the academy as well. You'll always lose a couple of players, bring a couple of players in. You'll often bring them in during the season as well. Some of them will go away and train with the first team, but not all of them do. So at the moment, Myers is the prime example. The likes of Myers and Kanté, Golambeckis have been training with the senior team, but Briggs and Batcham haven't been. So they're doing their own training. So they're not even training together Monday to Friday. But when they come together in the game, it looks like they've been training all week together. They play as a team, they play as a unit. And I think that team spirit, you see it after the game, they're all celebrating, they're all giving Herrick a little bit of that. But the Swindon game in particular, when it got a little bit tasty after the game, you seen them all sticking up for each other. And it was boys against men. That was our lot. We're all young, coming up against grown men, unhappy, and our players were giving it something, sticking up for one another. And I love it. I think the team spirit within the academy at West Ham, I don't know, that's just, it's quite special actually, isn't it? And I think that's what makes it very enjoyable watching it. I think they play good football, but there's something about that, just the way they play with each other and for each other. It's quite unique. I like it.
Yeah, it is. And it comes from just an identity. It comes from being well drilled. It's simple stuff. It isn't stuff that's complicated. Making sure that you are supporting your players, making sure that you're wanting the ball, making sure that you're giving them options, making sure that you're working hard. It's the foundations. It's just the fundamentals of football. So it's the simple stuff done really well. And some of the senior ones could learn a lot from watching them under 21s, I tell you, because that's what it's all about. And it did. I mean, we have been here before, Joe. We've watched this before and seen a team like that that's so impressive. that's doing what they're doing, and it never really materializes into a first team. You know, but I was sitting there again watching it last night, and you're just thinking, in a few years down the line, if you can keep this group of players together, I think it is one of those moments where we've had good teams in the past who have gone and won FA Youth Cups and all that sort of stuff. There's something a little bit special about this lot. And they're such an all-round team. With the addition of people like Kanté in there, I didn't think he had his best game last night. I thought it was his worst game. Yeah, all the things that worry me, he kind of put them on show last night, unfortunately. But he is still a real different style player. His athleticism, how big he is, how much of the ground he covers. It's just an all-round team. And yeah, let's just hope that we're sitting here a few years down the line and many of these have come through. And yeah, it could be a little special team.
I was going to ask you the question. I'm hoping you're going to give me the answer that I'm wanting from you here, right? But
no pressure.
When you said over the years, we've looked at teams and we've thought, oh, this is a special bunch. But what was the last team you looked at West Ham Academy and thought this is a special bunch?
Well, it was back to the Joe Cole days when we played Coventry.
No. Wrong answer. Next one. You just mentioned it there. You just mentioned it.
Well, the FAU, but this is the same. Yeah. It's almost, there's a lot of players who are similar from that time, isn't there?
Well, that's my point. So we're watching under 21s now, thinking, oh, they might be a bit special, but we've been here before. But last time we were here, was watching this lot under 18s.
Yeah, there's a few changes. There's a few changes,
but a lot of them are majority up. Yeah, because they have. They're not all going to make it. You know, the proof is in the pudding. You know, Patrick Kelly's no longer at West Ham United. You know, there's already players part of that FA Youth Cup winning squad no longer at West Ham, and he's going to go on and have a really good career in the English Football League, whether it's League One, League Two, maybe up to the Championship, and I hope he does. I enjoy seeing our academy products achieve success elsewhere. You know, Nathan Trott's having a really good season this season with Cardiff in League One. You know, he's having a brilliant season, but I'm pleased for him, and I'm glad he is doing that and he's having success. But hopefully a handful of the players, and that is ambitious, even just 4 or 5 of them making it at West Ham in the senior team, that's a huge number. That would be an outstanding success for the academy if a few of those that played last night do end up racking up. And I always say 50 appearances. I think that's my barometer. If you hit 50 appearances at your club, you've made it. If you get 10, 15 and go elsewhere, you nearly made it. You got a chance, but you didn't quite get there, kind of thing. I think, you know, Ben Johnson levels is where I would say he made it at West Ham. Didn't work out for him for whatever reason, but he made it. But I think here's the significant difference this season, Frankie, is that they're getting a chance, aren't they? Now, Ollie Scars has been playing football. George Earthy was in the team before his loan and his injuries, and you'd imagine he'll get another one. Callum Marshall's had a chance. Myers came on at the weekend. Golambeckis has been in the first team squad. Kanté came on at Old Trafford. Imagine it. Imagine that occasion for him. Reddy Potts is in the team. You imagine we'll see Lewis Orford again, but he came off the bench last season for West Ham. So you do just think you do well and you're good enough, you get a crack. And I think that's significant because I don't think that pathway has always been there. And I know Mark Noble gets a lot of criticism at the minute because he's working for the board, and there's a lot of criticism of the board. And it's a case of, well, you're supposed to be a West Ham fan. I'm not that bothered personally because I think, well, that's his employer. He can't really speak. He starts speaking out. He's sacked, right? So he's got to keep his job. But also, I don't judge Mark Noble on the first team. I don't think his role is the first team. If the first team get relegated, I don't think it's Mark Noble's fault. If the first team go and win the FA Cup, I don't think it's because of Mark Noble. But I look at the academy, and that's where I judge Mark Noble. And I remember him specifically on the Ben Foster podcast saying, because we got rid of that January, we got rid of Elise and we got rid of Ekwa. And it was a bit like, oh, okay, we thought these players were on the cusp of the senior team. They're on the bench at least. And I remember him saying, I'm clearing a pathway. They're almost too old. You're not going. If you're 21, 22 at West Ham, you're not playing. You're probably not going to. So I'm getting rid of them because we've got a special bunch of players coming through, and I want to clear that pathway so they can get into the first team. that's a bold statement to make. And it's a case of, well, that's what we're going to judge you on then. If that's what you're saying you're doing, we're going to use your own words and we're going to judge you. And it's always going to take a long time. You can't do something like that overnight. You don't get rid of a couple of players and suddenly the 18-year-olds in the first team. But we're seeing it now. 2-3 years on, we are now seeing this crop of youngsters popping up in the senior team. And that's where I'm going to judge him. And I think it feels like he's doing his job. And there's still 1 or 2 players that have left or could be leaving. Adiele, for example, his contract, I believe, is up at the end of the season. We're struggling to tie him down, and he's got interest from elsewhere in the Premier League. So it's a case of, can we keep him? We're being linked to that youngster at Tottenham. Never heard of him, but apparently Noble likes him and wants him, and we're trying to attract him to West Ham. And that's where the proof's going to be in the pudding. But I think for the first time, Frankie, in a long time, I think, you know what? They've got a chance. And I think sometimes you get token gestures previously, where they're on the bench, they might come on, you'll never see them again. It'll be like, oh, this manager gave this player his debut. And I think, yeah, he gave him his debut, but he didn't give him an opportunity. I think it's 2 different things. The worst example, or the best to argue my case, is what Sam Allardyce did against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup. That wasn't giving youngsters an opportunity. That was petulance from him making a point against the, oh, you want youngsters? There you go. Oh, you got smashed by Nottingham Forest. Well, it's what you wanted. But he just used youngsters to make a point. It was disgusting what he did, really. He just threw all those kids in knowing they're going to get played off the park. But now I feel like they're getting an opportunity, and there's a big difference for me between getting an opportunity and getting a debut. And I'm just hoping that Nuno continues with it. We've got the January transfer window coming up. We need reinforcements. But I hope that come February, March, there's still a couple of academy players on the bench, making up the numbers, but also getting a chance as and when required. So I think that's what gives me a little bit of hope.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do hope, like you say, that because I'm hoping it's by merit and it's what he's seeing and it's what he wants to do, as opposed to it just being a very thin squad and we haven't got a lot of options. And that's
it can
why
be both. I think it can be both.
Yeah, it can, but it won't be if he brings in these reinforcements and then they're always the people getting on the pitch, and then we never see one of these youngsters coming on again. So look, but I also do understand in the flip side that we're in a bit of an awkward position right now, and it's normally, isn't it, when you're in a relegation battle, because that's what we're in. It's hard to give youngsters a chance, because as a manager, if you're giving them the opportunity rather than the senior players and it goes wrong, then it really doesn't look good on their behalf normally. So look, I think we're a bit different to that. I think we'd rather see, as West Ham fans, the chance go to them, because we think they can step up and they can do it. But on the flip side, Joe, I'm going to be really honest right now. Really honest. I don't want to see the opportunity at the moment. If you just said February, March time, Callum Marshall still getting an opportunity, I won't be too pleased.
I agree with that. I don't mind him as the third choice striker. There needs to be a new striker, Callum Wilson and Callum Marshall for me. I agree with that. But what happens if I said he's not getting an opportunity, but George Earthy is?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Earthy be playing football. I think, again, he's showing that he is that step above.
It's too easy, isn't it? It's like Kanté, for example, it's physically too easy for him.
Yeah.
He's just charging through players, and it's like, it's not much of a challenge for him. But I think technique-wise and football IQ, if you like, I think Earthy's just... He looks like he strolls through the game, and he's the best player on the park. And it's not the first time either. You know, when they played a couple of weeks ago against Truro in the National Cup, he was the best player on the pitch. And I thought head and shoulders above everyone else as well. Our players and their players. I thought it's too easy for him. And I think that's a sign of someone being close to being ready for the first team when they breeze through games like that. And I thought Earthy did in the first half. And in the second half, when he was on the ball, he was fine. It was just the nature of the game and the way the momentum when it was... Colchester were trying to get an equaliser, so it's difficult for him to impose himself. But another goal, he keeps scoring and keeps getting assists, and I'm just praying. He's the one player I've been disappointed Nuno hasn't given a chance to. But I just remind myself, he's had some big injuries, so he does need to be handled with care. And I do wonder if that's what we're doing, because it's one thing playing Myers for 10 minutes against Brighton and then playing him last night. maybe you wouldn't want to do that with Earthy, give him 2 games in quick succession, and you just want to protect him a little bit. But I do think that sometimes we are lacking someone like George Earthy. And actually, you look at the bench at Brighton, I think we're missing someone like George Earthy on the bench. So I think the opportunity is there for him, and I think he's producing it. So if I have one frustration with the academy players in the first team, it's the lack of Earthy. But I'm hoping it's just handling him with care at the minute, and he's going to get his opportunity at some point. I just want to see it sooner rather than later. That's all.
Yeah, and you see how quickly he gets the ball moving forward. He's so it's a bit of an odd comparison to make, but I see him a bit like when we had Lingard, a player who wants to play forward all the time. He's not a sideways and backwards merchant. Every time he gets the ball, he's head up. He wants to play forward. He really helps Adiele on the left-hand side. He really helps Marshall, trying to get him unlocked as well. And we're desperate for some creativity from midfield. So, on games where we want to be a bit more on the front foot, he's a player that I would love to see in there instead of a Magassa or a Potts. I'd love to see us push one player further forward, and that be Earthy, so he can show us what he can do and try and create more chances for us. But here's a big question, Gio.
Go on.
QPR is going to come round fairly quickly. How many of them would you want to see in a game like that?
Where are we in the league?
Where we are now?
Probably quite a few, because I'd say, well, been off the FA Cup a little bit, but if we'd got some points on the board and we were, 16, for example, I'd say, well, actually, I fancy having a pop at QPR here and trying to keep the magic of the FA Cup going. The FA Cup's always like the most important thing to me. And you always get the hypothetical question, would you be okay with relegation if you won the FA Cup? And I always think I would be, yeah. Like, I've seen relegations before. Sometimes they're not a bad thing. It's just as long as you bounce back, you're okay, kind of thing. But the FA Cup, you'd remember for the rest of your life, wouldn't you? So I guess to answer your question, Frankie, I'd like to see some of them, but I also want to win the game. So I would rotate a few players, but not everyone. I'd still put out a side that when the lineup's announced, you think, oh, Nuno wants to win this game. That's the reaction I want. And if that means 2 or 3 players are in there, so be it. But I probably wouldn't go more than 3. And it depends on there's a lot of things you've got to consider. But if the game was tomorrow, I'd be saying, well, let's start George Earthy and let's start Myers or Golambeckis, whichever one Nuno thinks is closest to playing, because we're playing a championship team here, and I like to think that our under-21s would or should be able to hold their own against a championship team. And if you can't, bear in mind, surrounded by senior players, right, I would have Golambeckis or Myers next to Mavropanos or Todibo, right? So you've got a proper senior player next to you, helping you, talking you through the game, and I'd maybe even have Herrick in goal, actually, because then that youngster in front of him, they know each other, they've got that relationship and they've got that trust and stuff. So yeah, maybe chuck Herrick in the deep end a little bit, because we spoke earlier on how hard it is to give a goalkeeper an opportunity. One of the centre-backs, George Earthy. And maybe that's it. But Potts would play as well, so there would be another academy product in there. But I'd have some on the bench as well, so that we were winning by a couple of goals, you could bring them on. What about yourself?
It's a tricky one, and this is why Nuno gets paid the money he does. I mean, if you're sitting there, I'd love to know, and it'd be interesting to see in the comments as it goes. If you had to pick between a midfielder of Souček or Kanté, I'd love to see what people would choose. And
80% Kanté, I reckon.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the sort of game for me that Souček gets you a winner. Like, it's the sort of game that he steps up in, scores you the goal, that gets you through a bit of a tough match.
Frankie, if we need Souček to bail us out against QPR, we're in serious trouble. I like to think that you could play.
But this is football, Joe, isn't it? And everyone sees it that way. But you're going to have 9,000 QPR fans packed into the London Stadium.
Yeah.
These players, they won last night in the last minute, was absolutely went mental last night, QPR. You just can't, these things are not a given. And actually, this goes back to why it was such an impressive result last night. Plenty of teams, if you was playing Colchester in the FA Cup tomorrow,
Yeah.
There are Premier League teams who could potentially come unstuck against a Colchester side, but these boys have gone out there and done it. So football is a funny old game. It's going to be a massive occasion for them. That it ain't going to be, it's not a given. And this is what I'm saying with regards to bring it. When is the right time to give these youngsters the opportunities? And you can give them the opportunities, but then Nuno will be sitting there thinking, in this game, all those people that I want to call upon in the Premier League when I need them, because you don't know when you're going to need them, because Paqueta goes and gets himself sent off and gets a suspension or whatever it is. Really, whoever is his backup player in that position for a Premier League start is who should play in that match, because they need game time, match fitness. Match fitness is such an important thing. You can't replicate it in training. The sharpness of actual Premier League, pace of football and everything else, it's so important. So it's tricky. It's a really tough job. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'd love to see Earthy linking up with Somerville. I'd love to see it. It would be such a good thing. It's something that I really want to see. But it's very hard to pick that midfield. If you've, like you say, you've got Potts, Magassa.
I'll tell you my midfield.
You've still got Paqueta, Souček, Kanté.
If we were playing QPR tomorrow, I'll tell you my midfield 5 if you want.
Go for it.
Potts, Fernandez, Bowen, Earthy, Somerville.
Yeah.
I'm going for it. I am going for it. I want to win. And I'll be saying to Somerville, look, mate, this is where you get your goal. You've got to get your goal here, right? This is where you become back pages tomorrow. Somerville sends West Ham through kind of thing. But that's what I would do. That's the team I'd put. I'd have Kanté on the bench and Guilherme on the bench. But I want to beat QPR. I want to beat in the next round of the cup. And you just pray that you avoid Premier League teams in the next round as well. You know, how often do you see a team get to the FA Cup semi-final and you're halfway through the game and come and say, oh, this is the first Premier League team such and such is facing in the FA Cup. You think, what? They've got here. They're facing it. It's just luck for some teams, rigged for others, possibly. And we've got, I think, QPR at home, I think it's a decent draw. I would have preferred it away, but I think it's when I seen what the draw was, I wasn't disappointed. But I think it's because I'm used to getting drawn against Man U or Man City or something in the FA Cup. You know, what's the point? What's the point? Like in the Carabao Cup when we've got Wolves, it was like, boring. What's the point? No one, Wolves fans didn't want to see it, and West Ham fans didn't want to see it. Neutrals didn't want to see it. Literally, no one was interested in that Carabao Cup game. But this one, don't know, QPR West Ham, nice London derby. We've not played each other for quite a few years now and stuff like that. Well, I think it's quite nice. I think it's a decent little one. The club can price the tickets £10 an adult, £5 for a kid or whatever. Fill it up. Kids will be able to go to a game that they perhaps usually can't get to because of ticket prices or accessibility or whatever. I think it could be a really good occasion, that game. So I'm happy with the draw. And I want us to win. Get us in the next round, Frankie. That's what I say. Anyway, we won't discuss Brighton because I think it's been a really positive, fun podcast. But what we can do later in the week when we'll have a chat about the Villa game, we can look back at the Brighton game.
Just on that, Geo, very, very short. I really enjoyed the Brighton game. I thought first half we were fantastic. I thought we controlled the game. I was buzzing after that first half. I've seen some people be really critical over the first half and not being ambitious enough and everything else. I loved it. I thought we controlled the game. I was so positive when that first half ended. And I've got to be honest, went into the live chat on Hammer's chat. I was ready for the bragging rights. I was super chatting. I was going to go, told you so.
So I've lost out in money because we conceded a late goal.
Exactly. Exactly, Gio. You have. I was there. I was ready. I was literally on their live stream. I thought Gio's there.
Someone owes me a fiver. The referee.
I want me flowers. And it was just such a shame how... But I've said to you as well, I was so happy with the first half. I was really positive about it all. I thought it was the best football we've played in ages. I thought we controlled the game. Everyone told me Brighton's this good side. I don't think they're that good, but I think we made them look average. I was, so happy with how that game went. I think we deserved the win. Not often do you turn around and say, look, we deserve to win that game, but I thought we really did deserve to win. But you make your own luck in this world. Fortune favours the brave. We've got to go on and see these games out. We've got to kill games. We can't keep getting one goal ahead and then thinking, oh, we'll just defend that, or like we did at Bournemouth, finish the game off, make it out of sight and out of mind. And then when these little moments happen and things go against you, things will go against you less if you're on the front foot. As soon as you're on the back foot and it's, you know, attack after attack and balls into the box and everything else, that's when these little breaks, these little things happen. So we've got to find a bit of confidence to see these things out and be brave enough, because points, as we've seen with the league table, aren't going to be enough. We've got to turn these draws into wins, and when these games are there for the taking, we've got to finish them off. But I was very happy with the Brighton performance, and it's given me a lot more confidence going into these next couple of games, actually.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to catching up with you ahead of that Villa game. But for you guys at home, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please do drop a like on the video by clicking thumbs up, subscribe to Hammers Chat. And I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that did join me in the watch along last night. I honestly thought I'd have about 40 people, and to have over 500 people throughout the stream was excellent, but especially considering I didn't even have a stream for a large part of the second half. Most of the people stuck around, even though I wasn't even able to commentate on the game because I couldn't watch it because Sky Sports was broke. But I just want to say a massive thank you to those 550 people, because it was quite, it was nice. And it was nice to see everyone interacting in the live chat, because there's less people. The chat doesn't go as quick, so people can speak to each other in the live chat. And that's what I want to do going forward. I want to build up a little community within the community. So Hammers Chat's got a community, but I'd like to build a little We Watch Under 21 football community within that, so that when there is a game, and I'm going to do as many watch alongs as I can. If not, I'm hoping I can rope this one into doing one or two himself.
I'm up for the Moldovan Hammers. I'm well up for that. That sounds like an interesting group.
Yeah, we had to become Moldovan Hammers Chat last night because Sky Sports weren't working, so I had to teleport to Moldova so I could watch the game on a different stream. So we're now the Moldovan Hammers Chat as and when required. So that's the name of that's going to be the Under 21s group going forward in the live chat. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know when the next watch along will be for the Under 21s. I'm going to do as much as I can, but I'll definitely be doing one for that game against Wimbledon, which is in the middle of January. I can't remember the date, 11th or 16th. Those two dates are in my head. It might be one of them, but looking forward to it. Big occasion, and we'll take just over 1,500 West Ham fans there last night. Incredible support. Some Premier League teams don't get that. For the first team, like, I don't think.
Can you imagine we make it to Wembley, Geo? Can you imagine we got to Wembley? We'd have 50,000 there. It'd be unbelievable.
We'll fill that place up if we make it to Wembley. It'll be I hope we do. It'll be an incredible experience. I might have to hire someone to do Moldovan Hammers Chat that day. I have to save up my pennies and get my visa stamped and get off to London. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us. If you have a kid into football, do consider getting them the FPro football app and mat for Christmas. Go to fpro.com/Hammers Chat so you can save up to 40%. Links in description below in pinned comments. Myself and Frankie, catch you in a bit.